to go. Donald Trump's refusal to say anything bad about Vladimir Putin has many asking why. A new book suggests the answer may lie in Trump's decades-long relationship with the Russian government and the Russian mafia. Joining me now is Craig Unger, author of the new book, House of Trump, House of Putin, the untold story of Donald Trump and the Russian mafia. Now, let me ask you, Craig, the Russian mafia, I mean, this is not hyperbole here. You're saying that Donald Trump has had involvement with the Russian mafia as we know it in this country.
Absolutely. I'm talking about people on the FBI most wanted list, people who've been indicted for money laundering and convicted. And I go back to 1984 when a man went into Trump Tower, put down $6 million, that's the equivalent of $15 million today, in cash, and said, I'll take 5 condos. And he was effectively laundering money. That was according to the State Attorney General of New York. And you know, you hear all this talk about revoking national security clearances. If there is one man who would never get a security clearance in a zillion years, it's Donald Trump. One thing, you have to show your tax returns, but having more than 30 years of laundering money, his real estate has laundered hundreds of millions, actually billions of dollars for the Russian mafia.
Now, engaging in this kind of connection, and you put a lot of this in your book, and let's assume everything in here is ironclad true. Would you then argue that the Russians have such compromising evidence or such compromising situations that it impacts his decisions as President of the United States, which therefore violates the trust of the American people? Notwithstanding his business dealings, are you saying that he is guided in his policy decisions based on what they could have on Donald Trump?
I think he's absolutely, completely compromised. And one thing that's really important about the Russian mafia that I want Americans to understand is that it's very different from what we think of when we think of the Godfather, the Italian-American mafia. I interviewed former general of the KGB, Oleg Kalugin, who'd been head of counterintelligence during the Soviet years. And when I asked him about the Russian mafia, he said, oh, that's just another branch of the KGB. They reported to us. They are part of Russian intelligence. So you have people in Trump Tower on and off over a 34-year period who are part of Russian intelligence. And if I may read one quote General Kalugin gave me, he said, I would not be surprised if the Russians have, and Trump knows about them, files on him during his trip to Russia and his involvement in meeting young ladies that were controlled by Russian intelligence. General Kalugin was the boss of Vladimir Putin.
And that's a quote from him.
Absolutely.
I'm going to leave it there. Sometime they taught me in Brooklyn, enough said. Thank you, Craig Unger. More AM Joy after the break.